Death Note is a Japanese manga series written by Tsugumi Ohba and illustrated by Takeshi Obata, and was adapted into an anime in 2006. Known for its intelligent writing, Death Note holds an 8.9 rating on IMDb and ranks 31st among the best shows. The story begins when Light Yagami discovers the Death Note, a book that states that if a person's name is written in it, they will die. Fast forward, Light Yagami is a psychopath who has killed many people, leading the ITPO, the international police in the series, to realize these deaths are no coincidence. Someone must be responsible for all these criminal deaths. This is where L, humanity's greatest detective, becomes interested in the case. No one knows L's real name, whereabouts, or appearance, yet he solves every case he takes on. No matter how difficult, he is the best of the best, solving cases worldwide. Through his investigation, L notices that most of the criminals who have died were those broadcasted in Japan. So, the one responsible for these killings is likely Japanese, or at least living in Japan. L then makes a direct move to Japan, leading to a direct confrontation with Kira. This is where L's battle of wits begins.
番組の途中ですが ICPO インターポールからの全世界同時特別生中継を行う
The TV interruption is deliberately made as urgent as possible, appearing as an unexpected global broadcast to make it more convincing. We can even see people in the background looking unprepared.
私は全世界の警察を動かせる唯一の人間リンドエル・テイラー通称 L です
L uses a prisoner scheduled for execution that day as bait to trigger Kira into revealing himself. Many dictators throughout history have also used decoys to lure assassins, extracting information about who their true enemies are.
相次ぐ犯罪者を狙った連続殺
L begins his speech by stating that criminals worldwide have been killed by a serial murderer. This wording is highly confrontational, as no one likes being called a serial killer. L is clearly the one who wrote the script for Lindell Taylor.
これは絶対に許してはならない史上最大の凶悪犯
He adds pressure and provocation by calling it the most audacious murder in history. While this isn't necessarily true, it is deliberately meant to provoke Kira's anger.
ですよって私はこの犯罪の首謀者俗に言われるキラを
L openly declares to the public that Kira is the enemy of the world and vows to capture him. L tries to ignite Kira's anger, hoping to make him slip up and make a mistake. L targets Kira's inflated ego. In the real world, the police wouldn't deliberately provoke someone with that much power. But L is different. He has already carefully considered who he is up against.
バカめ捕まるわけがないデスノートなんだよ ノートを抑えない限り証拠なんて何も残らないんだ捕まるなんて絶対不可
Many of us have high egos, and even those who believe they have strong mental fortitude can still be easily triggered by their own anxiety and fear. With the right trigger at the right time, a person can destroy themselves.
警察が動くのもこんなのが出てくるのも計画のうちさ
Based on L's assumptions, someone is responsible for killing criminals, and it is evident that the murders are not carried out directly, but rather from a distance. From this, L understands the nature of the person he is up against and how to confront them. L truly understands the nature of someone like Kira, as he shares characteristics of both a vigilante and a sniper. A vigilante loves delivering justice with their own hands, bypassing established laws and legal discussions, simply because they believe in their own sense of justice, force it without truly understanding what justice means. And a sniper, who possesses a superiority complex, feeling godlike, because they can kill from a distance, just like a god. If we try to understand L's thought process leading to his conclusion, we can assume it follows this reasoning. First, L knows that Kira is not someone seeking personal revenge, nor a criminal organization eliminating its competition. Kira is also not a secret government agency, as his targets number in the thousands, commit different crimes, and come from various countries with diverse motives. So, the most likely explanation is that this person wants to play God punishing criminals and attempting to enforce their own version of justice. For someone trying to play God like Kira, killing criminals while hiding behind a sense of justice is clearly driven by pride and arrogance. This is a person who feels the need to prove to the world that they are superior. And what L does is turn Kira against the very thing he believes is his reason for everything justice. L attacks Kira by stating that what he is doing is not justice, but a crime.
お前がどのような考えでこのようなことをしているのか、大体想像はつく。しかし、お前のしていることは悪だ。
Here, L successfully makes Kira lose to his own arrogance. In this scene, Light is defeated. From this point on, he can no longer continue his actions while simply hiding in his room. He can no longer kill in secrecy, making Light extremely vulnerable and at risk of being caught at any moment.
どうした？なんとか言ってみろ。
L learns about a person's weaknesses. He studies how someone perceives themselves. A wise person is often that way because they hide their flaws. A friendly person may be concealing their gullibility. A generous person might be masking their need to prove they are good and morally superior. And a courageous person could simply be hiding their fear, covering up a sense of inadequacy. Learning about a person's weaknesses can be done by studying what they idolize, what they admire, their motivations, what they value, their habits, and most importantly, what makes them feel insecure. L focuses more on a person's subconscious behavior. He observes body language and the consistency of their words. This is why L constantly challenges Light's arrogance. L manipulates people by targeting emotions they can't control, such as love, hatred, or arrogance. Many people can't withstand this. By doing so, L forces his opponents to act before they're ready, disrupting all their plans. L challenges Kira to kill him, once again pressuring Kira and giving him a sort of guideline to make him want to kill L.
殺せない人間もいる。いいヒントをもら
L continuously exposes Kira's true weakness, stating that there are things Kira cannot do. Once again, L attacks Kira's arrogance while also showing the world that they are not facing a god, but just an ordinary human. L also manages to identify Kira's first victim, as the first kill is usually the least refined due to the killer's lack of experience during that period.
キラ、お前がどんな手段で殺人を行っているのかとても興味がある。しかしそんなことはお前を捕まえればわかること。
L ends the scene by reiterating his plan, pressing on Kira's arrogance, and pushing him to make a mistake.
ではまた会おう、キラ。
L successfully proved that Kira truly exists and revealed his abilities to the world, turning global opposition against him. Not only that, but he also managed to pinpoint Kira's location not just in Japan, but specifically within the Kanto region. From here, L continuously tries to corner Light. He already knows that Light is Kira, all he needs now is proof. Ohba created L as a force of justice and a super detective who stands between Light and his goal. L's victory in the series is monumental, and thinking as complexly and brilliantly as he does seems almost impossible. He successfully fought against something completely unknown, something unprecedented, yet he managed to corner Light with ease. L further cornered Light by openly admitting in public that he was L and introducing himself as Hideki Ruga, a famous Japanese actor, in an attempt to trigger Light into killing the real actor. L successfully captured the second Kira, Miza Amain. Throughout most of the series, he knew that Light was Kira, he just couldn't prove it. Despite facing an entirely unknown supernatural force, he came incredibly close to winning. Ohba stated that L is his favorite human character because he is the smartest in the entire Death Note series. He managed to narrow down the list of Kira suspects from billions of people worldwide to just one Light Yagami. The only reason L lost to Light was because Light had immense power at his disposal, supernatural abilities that had never existed before. He had the Death Note, a Shinigami, his father's information, and a partner with the Death Note, a Shinigami, and the Shinigami Eyes. L's death came from something he couldn't control. He couldn't escape it, he couldn't run from Rem, the Shinigami who ultimately killed him. Despite being incredibly intelligent, L did not die because of a mistake. He never made one. Light has a magical book, an invisible demon, and a father who's the head of the police. Yet L still fought him. L almost defeated him. His intelligence and deductive skills make others feel foolish. L is meticulous and analytical, but what we don't know is that L is very similar to Light. They are two sides of the same coin. In the movie Death Note, Real Life, Vision of the God, L once said,
"There are many types of monsters in this world. Monsters who will not show themselves or who cause trouble. Monsters who abduct children, monsters who devour dreams, monsters who suck blood, and monsters who always tell lies. Lying monsters are a real nuisance. They are much more cunning than other monsters. They pose as humans, even though they have no understanding of the human heart. They eat, even though they've never experienced hunger. They study, even though they have no interest in academics. They seek friendship, even though they do not know how to love. If I were to encounter such a monster, I would likely be eaten by it. Because in truth, I am that monster."
L is very intelligent, but justice is not his goal. He is a monster, just like Light, a liar. L often manipulates with false information and uses his understanding of human behavior to achieve his goals. Ohba once said that L is actually a liar. Like Light, he has a high sense of pride and is sensitive. He fears errors in his inductions and theories, which is evident in his drastic actions throughout the series. When people read or watch Death Note, L is often the character that draws them in and keeps them watching until the end. He's an odd and quirky person who can do incredibly brilliant and captivating things throughout the series. However, what people don't realize is that L never truly cared about justice. He just wanted to solve a case that he found interesting. He was more focused on unraveling the mystery than on upholding justice. According to Ohba, L would sacrifice people just to get clues for the case he was working on, and he would readily break the law and lie to solve it. In the series, L creates a false test, extra writings for Light, to trap him and try to make him reveal himself. L has no emotions, and the only time he shows them is when he first discovers that Shinigami are real. He falls and appears shocked, but what people don't realize is that he isn't afraid or startled by the Shinigami. He is shocked because it confirms his theory. He isn't scared of the god of death, he is simply overwhelmed that his wild theory, which he once thought was impossible, has been proven true. When a task force member is killed by Kira, L trembles not out of fear, but because his theory is challenged. He was sure no one knew the officer's name, yet he was still killed. L did not tremble out of fear of being killed or losing his partner. He pretended to be a devoted fan of Misa Amain, so that no one would notice him stealing her phone. L once tortured Misa and imprisoned Light to uncover Kira's identity. Though Light suggested it, L agreed without concern for Light's feelings, only wondering if it was a trick. Ohba stated that every time L mentioned a percentage of Light being Kira, it was a lie. He did this to keep the task force, including Light's father, calm and prevent reckless actions that could jeopardize their mission. Every time L mentioned a single-digit number, he was actually adding 90 to it. So if he said 7, he really meant 97%. In one scene, we see L say that Light is the first and only friend he has ever had. We never know whether L intended to make Light empathize with him, or if he was telling the truth. But in another scene, L said that he truly wanted Light to be Kira. L didn't seek friendship. He wanted competition. What he desired was a worthy rival for his brilliant mind, or perhaps that's what he considered a friend. We never truly know. L once stated that Kira's psychology had reached a fine level someone willing to sacrifice anything to achieve their goal. Perhaps L himself had also reached this state of mind. L was highly competitive and, in many ways, childish. In the Death Note manga, on page 11, L was even willing to commit crimes to solve the cases he worked on. He would do whatever it took until he was satisfied with the answer. In another special scene at Wami's house, the orphanage owned by Watari, when L first arrived as a child, all the other orphans tried to hug him to make him feel comfortable and at home. However, L struck them all down, causing them to fall, and claimed that they were trying to harm him. He then declared, "I am justice." Light and L are actually two opposing sides of the same coin. They have different senses of justice, but both possess the drive and capability to sacrifice anything to achieve their goals. L is not the hero we always thought he was. He is merely a sociopath or perhaps a psychopath obsessed with solving mysteries. To get what he wants, he is willing to sacrifice anything. That is actually the essence of Death Note. In this series, we witness two psychopaths battling each other, outsmarting one another, and causing countless casualties along the way. The crazier they become, the greater their chances of winning. L has a unique passion and talent for solving cases. When he encounters a particularly difficult case, he becomes excited to crack it. He doesn't care what must be sacrificed to solve it, he just wants to play the game. He just wants to solve the mystery. L's psychology is no longer the same as ours. That's what makes him so intelligent. His passion, obsession, and love for solving problems and cases drive him forward. Even though we may never think as brilliantly or perfectly as L. But we can train ourselves to think critically and independently. Keep asking good and precise questions. When faced with a problem, try to come up with a solution on your own first. And also try to learn and recognize cognitive biases. Study how to think logically, understand logical fallacies, and explore various mental models. Try to learn the positive aspects of how L thinks, things that are worth studying to sharpen our minds without becoming a monster like him. Take the good and discard the bad.